بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. From the hikmah of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah, and from His decree and His creation, Allah Azza wa Jal, He has created good and bad. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He has created jinn and mankind and jinn kind to test them. And Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran, He said that He would test people with good and He would test people with bad. He says, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالْخَيْرِ وَالشَّرِّ فِتْنَةً, and we will test you with good and with shar as a fitna, I mean as a test. And I have discussed last time, I believe that I spoke about most of the time what the fitna falls into, and I say that fitna, they falls into two categories. They fall into two categories. First one, it is more related to ash-shahawat, which is desires, which is worldly affairs, and we spoke about the fitna, the temptation of an-nisa and fitna of al-mal. I did not discuss that in details, but this is something very common. Fitnat al-mal, which is the temptation of wealth, how wealth can turn someone from a believer to a disbeliever, and so on and so forth. And also Allah Azza wa Jal has also given any blessing to any human being as a fitna as well. Allah Azza wa Jal يقول في القرآن إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة, and which means that certainly your wealth and your offsprings are fitna, are temptation, are test. Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to see what we're going to do with them. This is a blessing from Allah. What are we doing with them? Are we going to appreciate, and are we going to thank Allah Azza wa Jalla, praise Allah, or are we going to reject His blessing and reject His favors? Likewise, when Sulaiman alayhi salam was given all the wealth and everything, and he was given the army, and when he saw everything in front of him, and when he saw the arsh, the throne that were brought forward and brought to him from far away, from Yemen to Palestine, when he saw that power and that blessing that Allah gave to him, he reminded himself. He said, لِيَبْلُوَانِي أَأَشْكُرُ أَمْ أَكْفُرُ. All these blessings that Allah gave to me, they are a test, whether I'm going to thank Allah or whether I'm going to be, whether I'm going to thank Allah, whether I'm going to reject His blessing. And these type of fitna, the first type of fitna is very common. And the best way of counter this fitna is through ibadah. Through ibadah. The Prophet Muhammad did say in the hadith, بادروا بالأعمال فتنا كقطع الليل المظلمة, which means that counter or rush into good deeds at the time of fitna. Fitna, the Prophet Muhammad, which gave an example as a dark night, which means that where you go, you don't know where you're going. And the only way for you to be guided and the only way for you to be not lost in this darkness is through your ibadah, through your action, your good deed, because your good deed, they are light. Your good deed is a light of guidance. Now the second type of fitna, and it is more dangerous than the first type of fitna, because the first type of fitna, we all know they are fitna. We all know it. It's apparent to us. It's temptation. And Allah Azza wa Jal warned us. But the second type of fitna is fitna fi shubuhat, in religion. Fitna in religion. And fitna in religion, there are many types of fitna. Last time I did discuss about the fitna of qital, of killing one another for the sake of him going to one tribe or going to one hizb, which means one group, or him going to another group. And the Prophet Muhammad did mention that at the end of the time, there will be people killing one another for power, killing one another because he loved this religion or he loved this person, and so on and so forth. And I mentioned that, but there's another thing that I would like to discuss today is the second form of the second type. Second type is fitna in religion. We talk about killing, and now we're going to talk about the divergence, differences, the groups. This fitna is greater than the first fitna. It's a lot greater. And the Prophet Muhammad in many ahadith, rather in every khutab in his last years before he passed away, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he warned people in every khutbah against it. He always say, فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ يَعِشْ مِنْكُمْ فَسَيَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا عَلَيْكُمْ بِسُنَّتِي وَسُنَّةِ الْخُلَفَاءِ الرَّاشِدِينَ. The Prophet Muhammad did say that whoever lives among you after me, lives longer, then you will see a lot of differences and divergence in religion. That's the issue. That's a problem. Because Allah Azza wa Jal did not command us to diverge. Allah Azza wa Jal يقول وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And stick upon the habl, the rope of Allah, all of you together, and do not diverge, do not differ. So this fitna of differences and into group and everything, this is a great fitna. And the Prophet Muhammad gave a cure here. He said, "Alaykum bisunnati," and then he said, "Wa sunnatil khulafa ar-rashidin." Stick upon my sunnah and upon the sunnah of my khulafa, of the successor that will come after me, the rightly guided khulafa, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, wa Ali. And many ahadith, the Prophet Muhammad also says, stick to the sunnah of the companion. The companion, they have a sunnah. The sunnah of the companion is similar to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. So now, if we have this group here, what to do now? What to do? Well, what to do? Prophet Muhammad did clarify that to one of the great companion, the secret holder, the one who used to hold the secret of the Prophet Muhammad Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, he said, the companion used to ask the Prophet Muhammad about good, and I'm asking him about the bad things. And he said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, we were living in bad time, and Allah Azza wa Jal has brought you among us." Meaning this is goodness. We're living in good time now. We used to live in bad time, but now we live in good time. Will there be bad time after this good time? The Prophet Muhammad said, yes. And then he said, will there be, Hudayfa, he asked him again, will there be a good time after that bad time, after that period of bad time? The Prophet Muhammad says, yes, there will be, but there will be some dirt in it. There will be a good time, but there will be some dirt in it. And the Prophet, Mu'adh, he said, وَمَا دَخَنُهُ Hudayfa, he said, وَمَا دَخَنُهُ ya Rasul? What is that dirt? What is that soil? What is that thing that is going to make it dirty? He said, there will be umara, there will be leaders that they will not follow my sunnah. There will be leaders that they will not follow my command. But you will still live in good time. I mean, there will be no differences. You will all be in one group and one nation. But the leaders, some of them will be bad. And then the Prophet Muhammad or Hudayfa, he asked him, he said, will there be a period of bad time after that period of good time? And he said, yes, there will be. There will be people that will call others to Jahannam. There will be people that will call others to hellfire. People among our community that will call others to hellfire. And Hudayfa, he said, Ya Rasulullah, describe them to me. Describe them so that I can stay away from them. He said, these people will speak your language, Arabic. These people will dress like you, Muslim. These people, they will be Muslim in apparent, but they hold the heart of shaitan. If you see them, you will recognize them straight away in their speech, how they call others, such as calling others to do shirk, calling others to do bid'ah. This is very famous now, this is very apparent. They go on TV and they say, you have to call so and so, you don't need to turn to Allah. Because, it is disrespectful not to turn to him or him. These type of people, the Prophet Muhammad he warned us against them. Again, he warned us. So you have to be very careful. And then he said, Hudhayfah, he said, Ya Rasulullah, what to do if I reach them? What to do if I live at that time? The Prophet Muhammad said, this is the point of the hadith. He said, عليك تلزم جماعة المسلمين وإمامهم. You stick upon the group of the Muslim, the real group, the group that is upon the truth of the Muslim and their Imam. You stick behind them. You stay with them. And then Hudhayfah said, what if there's no group, if they're all separated, there will be a lot of firaq, and I can't find any truth in any of these groups, and I can't find an Imam, a leader, that will, unite us upon the haqq. The Prophet Muhammad then said, stay away from all these groups and stick upon shajara, stick upon upon a tree, and even if you die there, is better for you than getting involved into these groups. So the fitna of the group, the fitna of differences of belief is a great fitna. Because unfortunately, why are we calling fitna? Because these people, when they come to you, they don't say to you, this is shirk. They say to you, this is tawheed. They say to you, this is sunnah. And you fall into it. You go, naam, this is tawheed. They call with different names. That is why Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَىٰ بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا. They will inspire one another, talking about the group of shaitan, talking about the followers of shaitan. What they do when they call others, the guided people, what do they do when they call them, when they invite them? Do you think they invite them through falsehood? No, they invite them with beautiful words. They invite them through beautifying actions. They beautify their action. They call them with different names. They don't say this is shirk. They say this is tawheed. Tawheed is that you don't call Allah. You don't ask Allah directly. Tawheed is so and so. You have to go to that shrine and you have to go there and ask them. Do not ask Allah directly. And they call it tawheed. And they say sunnah is not to follow the Prophet directly. You have to follow one of the Imam. And you are upon the sunnah. If you don't follow, then you are not upon the sunnah. They beautify, they play with the word, they twist words. And Allah Azza wa Jalla did warn us that these people, shaitan, when he invite others to falsehood, he invite others with beautiful words, with decorated words. They will make it very beautiful for you to fall into it. Because if you see it is shirk, you will not fall into it. This is what I wanted to discuss about the fitna of religion and what we should do when we live at a time of fitna, of confusion, trouble. You don't know what to do, you don't know what group to follow. It's very simple. The scholars, they mention that there are steps of freeing yourself or for yourself to stay away from this fitna. The first step, and this step is one of the greatest steps, is to study the Quran and to learn the Quran and to read and reflect upon the meaning of the Quran. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jalla says so. He says at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he had shubha from the mushrikeen. When he had shubha from the mushrikeen, Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول وَكَذَلِكَ ثَبَّتْنَاكَ وَكَذَلِكَ ثَبَّتْنَاكَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول, and this is how we have kept you firm with the Quran, so that you won't lead yourself, or that you won't stay yourself astray from the right path. How did Allah Azza wa Jal help our Prophet Muhammad to stay firm on the right path? Through the Quran. So it is very important that you stick to the Quran. Try to learn the Quran first of all. Read the Quran. Try to understand the meaning of the verses, because the Quran is guidance. Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم. This Quran guide mankind to the correct way, guide mankind to the best way, guide mankind to the most correct opinion and affairs. The Quran is guidance, the Quran is mercy. It's very important that you study the Quran. And through your studies of the Quran, when you study the Quran, you will come across with stories of the prophets and messengers, how they were in front of their nation, how firm they were. And most of the argument and the shubuhat, the ambiguity that they come with the disbelievers or the people with a different group they come with, all these arguments that they use, wallahi brothers, they are in the Quran. They are in the Quran. Most of the people who worship other than Allah, the grave worshippers, they call themselves Muslim, but they are not Muslim because they worship other than Allah. They come at the moment, until now, until the day of judgment, they will come with the same argument that the Quraysh came with to the Prophet. The same argument. The same argument. They will tell you, but those same people, we're not worshipping them. We're only taking them as intermediate. We only hope that they will ask Allah for us. We believe that these saints, they have nothing to do with creation and everything, but we don't worship them. This is the same argument that Quraysh used. Quraysh said that to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Or they will tell you, but they're not creators. We know one creator is Allah, but they're only here because, we have to ask them. The time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used the same argument. Another argument that we say, we only take them as intermediate. Or the many arguments that they're using in our time, they are the same argument that the Quraysh used at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you study the Quran thoroughly and you try to understand, you know how to refute these arguments and you know how to stay firm. And many ayahs from the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, example, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ, and stick upon the rope of Allah. And Ibn Abbas and Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he clarified what is the rope of Allah here, he said the rope of Allah is the Quran. And other companions say the rope of Allah is Islam. Other companions say the rope of Allah is the Sunnah. But they all evolve around one thing. Because Islam, Sunnah, they all come from the Quran. They all come from the Quran. The Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is something in which Allah Azza wa Jal taught him through the Quran, and he clarifies to the companion, he clarifies to them what the Quran means. This is the Sunnah. Example, in the Quran, Allah, He never told us how to pray. Allah, He never told us there is 5 prayers during the day. But Allah, He told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to teach the companion how to pray. That's in the Quran. So Sunnah is actually clarifying the Quran. So they all evolve around the Quran. That's the first step. The second step that will keep you away from the fitna and keep you away from the groups is to stick and adhere upon the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Authentic Sunnah, of course. And alhamdulillah, nowadays we have, Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed us with this technology that we have and everything. We have the books with us. The most authentic book after the Quran is Sahih Bukhari. Go through it. Alhamdulillah, scholars, they all agree there's not even one not authentic hadith. All of them are all authentic. And after that, you have Muslim, Sahih Muslim. And then you have Nasa'i, you have Tirmidhi, you have Abu Dawood, you have Ibn Majah. These 6 books that I've just mentioned, alhamdulillah, they have no weak hadith that reach to the level of fabricated hadith. There could be weak hadith, slightly weak, which in the ilm of hadith, in science of hadith, we should not be taking these hadith, but they are very few in numbers. Hence, scholars say you're allowed to take any of these hadith in these 6 books. I repeat, Bukhari, Muslim, Ibn Majah, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i. Do we have other books? Of course, indeed, we do have other books. I'm talking about books of hadith, statement of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have example, Muwatta of Imam Malik. Muwatta of Imam Malik is also one of the most authentic book after the Quran and after Bukhari and Muslim. So refer to them. Refer to them. And also don't stay upon the hadith, meaning that don't read the hadith yourself and understand the hadith as you want to understand it. If the hadith is clear, example, the Prophet said, do not do that clearly, then naam, you understand the hadith clearly. But if many hadith need clarification, then go back to what the scholar, how the scholar they explain the hadith. And the best scholars who explain the hadith are the companions. That's the third step. Stick to the way of the companions. The companions, how they were at the time of the Prophet and how they were after the time of the Prophet. And in the end of my talk, inshallah, I'll be discussing about some stories about one companion, how he stood firm and how he stayed firm in times of fitna. That's the third thing. Stick upon the understanding of the companion. And Allah Azza wa Jal saying in the Quran, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Allah Azza wa Jal says, those earlier generation from the Sabiqun, meaning from the Muhajirin, meaning from the people who migrated from Mecca to Medina, and from the Ansar, from the people who supported the people of Mecca, meaning the people of Medina. So Allah mentioned the Sahaba from Mecca, He mentioned the Sahaba from Medina, and He called them the earliest generation. Because at the time of Hijrah, there were only 200 or 300 companions. There were not many companions. At the time of Bay'atul Ridwan, which is year 6 after Hijrah, there were only 1,400 companions. There were not many companions. Allah called them, those people, the earlier generation of the companion. They will have Jannah. Lahum jannatun tajri. But did Allah stop there? Did Allah say only them? Allah said, وَاتَّابِعُوا وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ. And those who follow them with perfection, in a complete way. He doesn't follow them in one way, as he wishes. So you know what, I'm in fiqh, I follow them. But in belief, no, I don't want to follow them. I want to follow my imam. It doesn't work like this. You have to follow them in every way, in every aspect of religion. In ibadah, in fiqh, how to understand, how to become closer to Allah in worship, in ibadah, in suluk, in akhlaq, in behavior, how to give da'wah to people, how to behave toward the Muslim, toward non-Muslim. Don't say, oh, I want to behave like this, I don't want to. No, you have to follow the companion. In every aspect, in jihad, in their salah, in zakah, in fasting, in hajj, in believing in Allah. When it comes to believing in Allah, in the name of Allah, this is when many Muslims now, they differ about the names of Allah. Some people, they say Allah hasn't got hand. Some people, they distort the meaning. They say, no, Allah has got hand, but their hand mean here power. Many people, they say whatever they want to say. But the companion, they all agreed about the name of Allah. Alhamdulillah, there's no khilaf. There's no difference of opinion between companions. They're all like one nation. It's very important that we follow the companion. And the fourth step and the fourth action that will help you stay away from fitna is to invite people to be one nation, united. United upon what? Upon the three things that I've mentioned earlier. Upon the Quran, upon the Sunnah, and upon the understanding of the companion. Our religion is not a religion of division. We don't call people to divide. We divide between the truth and false, yes. But as long as they're still in the Muslim community, there is division, you try to call them. You try to get them to one group. Don't say, oh, you know what, I'll stay from here and I don't want to call them because they are bad Muslim. Don't stay like this. Now, we warn against falsehood. It's our duty to warn against falsehood. What's the point of warning against falsehood? So that Muslim won't fall into it. Now, but so that you divide people or you call to division. No, this is not the da'wah of our prophets and messengers and the da'wah of all of the du'at. You have to call upon one nation. وَأَنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً. And this ummah and your ummah is one ummah, one nation. وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُونَ. And I'm your Lord, then worship me, subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why when you read the book of the belief about how to stay away from fitna, they all include this step. The best step of calling upon or of staying away from fitna is to call upon unity, upon brotherhood. But how? Through what? Through the Quran, Sunnah, and understanding of the companion. It's very important. And the fifth step to help you stay away from the fitna is to increase your dua. Increase your dua. And earlier I mentioned increase your act of worship. Because when you get closer to Allah, Allah Azza wa Jal will give you a light of discerning between wrong and right, and between fitna and haqq, between true and false. Allah Azza wa Jal will help to distinguish between these two. How? Through what? Through your ibadah. Because ibadah is a light. Allah Azza wa Jal will help you. And also dua, ask Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say, Ista'idhu billahi min al-fitan. Seek Allah, the protection of Allah from the fitna. Seek the protection from of Allah from the fitna. Ma dhahara minha wa ma batan. From what is clear, because there are fitna that are clear, as I said earlier, the fitna of wealth is clear, it's fitna. The fitna of nisa is clear, it's fitna. But there are fitna that are not clear, the fitna of these groups. Nowadays we hear people, they think that group so and so they are upon the truth. What the extremists are doing, what the Khawarij are doing, they are right, what they are doing. Why? Because they have no insight. They don't know the difference between true and false. That's why it's very important that you ask Allah Azza wa Jal. You ask Allah Azza wa Jal, you ask His protection from fitna. And from the sixth step that will keep you away from fitna is to ask the people of knowledge. To ask the people of knowledge. The ulama al-rasikhin, mean the scholars that are established in their knowledge. Not anyone who comes on TV is called scholars. No. The scholar that call upon Tawheed, that are firm, that when you see them, when they've been bombarded by questions from all over the world, they stay upon the same answer. They don't get, they don't get shaken by these questions, by these pressure. They always stay upon the same answer, because these answers are based upon the Quran or Sunnah. They say history is something that keeps repeating. What we're living at the moment, it happened years ago, centuries ago. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He explained in the Quran, and the companion, they explain how to deal with this type of situation. We have not been left, behind or left in darkness. Everything is in the Quran. Everything is in the book, Sunnah, the book of Sahaba, the companion, in their stories. They're all there. What we live at the moment, what you hear at the moment on TV about these extremists, it happened at the time of the Prophet. It happened at the time of the companions. So it is up to you, and it is your duty to go and find out what the companion did. What was their stance against these type of situation? And finally, that's the most important point, is to learn your religion. تفقه في الدين. To understand your religion. Try not to stay at home and say, I've got TV, I've got internet, that's enough. No, this is not enough. Learning your religion is not from TV or internet. It's not from reading alone. Yes, reading is a way of learning your religion, yes. But it's not from reading alone. Try to travel. Try to meet the scholars. Try to meet them. A few years, try to go there, out there. It's possible to travel, go there and learn your religion. Because learn your religion is a isma, is a protection from the fitna. And as I said earlier, I wanted to talk about some examples of some of the companions, and there are many examples. There are many examples of the companions when it comes to how they dealt with the fitna. But I'll, inshallah, be mentioning one companion, and I hope this companion will suffice. This companion is the successor of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khalifatu Rasulillah. Why I'm mentioning him? Because at his time there are many great fitna. There were many great fitna that happened at this time, at his time, and how he stood firm. How he stood firm upon the truth. And we'll talk in detail what was the reason behind it. Why did he stay firm? The biggest fitna that happened at the time of the companion, it was the biggest calamity and fitna was the fitna of the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, when Allah Azza wa Jal took his soul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of course, he was at the ghurfa room of Aisha radiallahu anha. And Aisha was the first one to know that he passed away. And then Abu Bakr was there. He came, he was there, and he witnessed the last breath of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then when the news reached some of the companions, because it's very shocking news, it's something that they would not expect. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he comes with miracles. He came with miracles and everything. Some of them lost their mind, radiallahu anhum. It's the news, shocking news. You would not accept this news very easily. So some of the companions, some of them say, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, Islam is fading away. Some of them has left religion. Some of them say, whoever says that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, then I will kill him. Umar ibn Khattab. And he started to speak and started to tell the companion that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has not passed away. He's still alive. And look at Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, how he stood firm. Look at his tawakkul of Allah Azza wa Jal. Look at this knowledge that he gained from the Prophet, he acquired from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he heard the people talking and raising their voices, people crying and weeping, he came out. After kissing the forehead of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and closing his eyelid, he came out. And he said, "Oh Umar ibn Khattab, ala rislik, relax, calm down, sit down now." And then he didn't want to sit down. He carried on talking. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, he stood up the minbar and he started to say, Alhamdulillah, Nahmadu, and everything. And then when he started to talk, Umar ibn Khattab, out of respect he had for Abu Bakr, sat. And then he said, he said his very famous statement, Man kana minkum ya'budu Muhammadan, fa inna Muhammadan qad mat. Wa man kana minkum ya'budu Allah, fa inna Allah hayyun la yamut. Whosoever used to worship Muhammad, then know for sure that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has passed away. He has passed away. And whosoever used to worship Allah, then let him know that he has worshipping the true Lord, the one that is ever living. And what made him stood firm in that position? One ayah from the Quran. So we go back to the first thing that I mentioned earlier, the step that will keep you firm on the religion in time of fitna, to understand the Quran. He recited one ayah. When he recited that ayah, all of the companions started to weep. They knew that it was the truth. Some of the companions, they used to know this ayah, but because of the news that they couldn't take in, they forgot the ayah. He recited one ayah. Look at the firmness of Abu Bakr Siddiq. What made him firm? The ayah of the Quran. He recited two ayahs. One of the ayah he recited, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. You are indeed mortal, you're going to die the same way that they're going to die. And the other ayah, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is only a prophet, is only a messenger, in which many messengers passed before him. Many messengers passed on before him. أَفَإِن مَّاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انْقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَىٰ أَعْقَابِكُمْ. If he passes away, if he dies, or that he get killed, you will revert to your old religion. You turn away from the religion of Islam. Abu Bakr Siddiq used that ayah to remind the companion that the Prophet Muhammad was a human being. He was a messenger from Allah, but he was a human being, and he passed away. So he reminded the companion to stay firm and to believe in Allah, to have this tawakkul of Allah Azza wa Jal. This story show how the companion, especially Abu Bakr Siddiq, he was firm. And what made him firm is his understanding of the Quran. The other thing, from the thing that Abu Bakr Siddiq, that showed the firmness of Abu Bakr Siddiq, is the fitna of the people who believed that zakat was not compulsory. There was a group of people, they were Muslim and then they rejected Islam. Why? Because they became kuffar. Why? Because they said that zakat is not compulsory. What we used to give at the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is not alive, we're not giving any zakat, meaning that zakat is not compulsory now. And this created fitna between Sahaba. Some of the Sahaba say, no, we are not allowed to fight them. We're not allowed to do anything because they're still our Muslim brothers. And again, he was alone in that stance. He was alone in that position. They were all against him. He was alone. Why? Likewise, he used one hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. This goes back to the second step. How will you keep yourself away from this fitna? Learn the hadith of the Prophet and understanding them. Why? Because they used the companion that said they were our Muslim brothers. They used the same hadith that Abu Bakr used, but they were wrong in their understanding. Abu Bakr, he was alone, he was right in his understanding. Allah gave him the insight. The hadith said, I was commanded to fight the people until they say La ilaha illallah. And once they say La ilaha illallah, then their blood and their honor becomes haram, except for any right, except for its right, means the right of Islam. The companion, they ignore that word, except for its right. Mean I'm allowed to fight if they have not fulfilled a right of Islam. And Abu Bakr Siddiq, he said, Al-Zakah is one of the right of Islam. He said, by Allah, I will fight anyone who is differentiating between Salah and Zakat. And Umar ibn Khattab, he says, since he said that hadith, wallahi, all our heart turned to Abu Bakr. And we knew on that day that Abu Bakr al-Siddiq was indeed the true successor of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. This shows that what made Abu Bakr firm upon his answer and his judgment is the understanding of the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And among many other things, there are about 4 or 5 that at the time of Abu Bakr and Siddiq, that the fitan happened, and we don't have time to discuss all of them, but these show how the companions, they were firm. They did not compromise. They were firm because their niyyah was to defend Islam. Their niyyah was to convey Islam the way that they have learned, the way that it came to them. And they were sincere, ikhlas. Ya ikhwan, wallahi ikhlas. When you want to learn your religion, be sincere. Your intention is to be closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. Your intention is not to show off to people what you know. Your intention is to become closer to Allah. Your intention is to become closer in Jannah to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You must have this niyyah when you come to learning the religion. You must have this niyyah when you come to, at the time of fitna. You want goodness for people, especially for Muslim people. Call them, invite them. Don't divide them, invite them. Don't cause any more confusion, any more trouble. Be hakeem, be wise. Invite them to Islam, invite them to Sunnah with hikmah, with wisdom, with kindness. Put yourself in their shoes. First of all, thank Allah, praise Allah Azza wa Jalla that He has guided you to the Sunnah, that He has made you know what Sunnah is. Now imagine that you were misguided like them. How would you like Sunnah to be brought forward to you? How would you like this knowledge and nasiha to be brought forward to you? We'd like somebody to come to you with wisdom, with kindness. Likewise, when you call others, call them with kindness, with patience. And know for sure that people will probably call you names, will probably make fun of you, will probably harm you, hurt your feelings. Naam, know for sure that if this happened, then thank Allah. Why? Because you are on the right path. This is the path of all prophets and messengers. There's not one prophet and messenger that when they came to their and gave da'wah to their nation, except that there was enmity. And people, most of the people did not believe in them. Expect that. Don't say, but why do they not accept from me? I'll give up. No, don't give up. Stay firm. And always go back to the Quran and Sunnah with understanding of the companion. Ask the scholars. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal for clarification to guide you and increase your worship. And ask scholar for clarification if in anything need clarification. And be patient until you meet Allah. And this is what the Prophet Muhammad says. Say, Wallahi, I have left you. Wallahi, taraktukum shay'aini ma in tamassaktum bihima lan tadillu ba'di abada. I have left you 2 things that if you stick upon them, you will never be astray from the right path. You will never be influenced by this fitna. And be firm and stick to them until you meet Allah. What are these 2 things? Kitab Allah wa sunnati. The book of Allah and my sunnah. Addu alayha bin nawajis. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to help us stay away from the fitna. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to help us learn our religion and to help us learn the fiqh in the religion. And before I leave, there was about 2 weeks ago, a brother, Ja'allah khair, asked about the silver of the ring, in the ring. And I said that the silver, there's khilaf between scholars in the ring. I got mixed up. I ask Allah for forgiveness. In the ring, there's no khilaf. In the ring, the Prophet ﷺ used to wear the silver in silver. Naam, that was silver. But outside the ring, bracelet, necklace, and so on, this is the matter of khilaf. This is the matter of difference between scholars. But in the ring, the Prophet ﷺ used to have a ring that he used to put in his hand, and it used to be served as a seal when he says, Muhammadur Rasulullah. That was made of silver. That was made of silver. This is in Bukhari and Muslim, and in the book of Shama'il Muhammadiyah of Imam al-Tirmidhi. He has a book called the Physical Characteristics of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Shama'il al-Muhammadiyah. And the hadith is authentic, and there's no khilaf about it. Wallahu a'lam. And also other thing is in time of jihad. In time of jihad, you're allowed to wear shield or helmet of gold and everything, because the point of jihad is to show your enemies how worthy you are. You are a worthy opponent. You're not somebody where you have to show them that you're somebody worthy. So you can wear helmet in gold, you can wear a sword in gold, and so on and so forth. This is what scholars mention, and this is not the topic. But about dressing, women, they're allowed to dress anything they want. As for men, they're not allowed to put a ring or bracelet of gold, but they're allowed to put a ring of silver. Ring of silver. Wallahu a'lam. Tafadhal.
You mentioned, I think it wasn't the khilaf about if it was the ring or not. It was the issue of, was it steel or was it silver? Because when you mentioned it, you mentioned silver.
Steel. I mentioned steel last time. Steel, now.
And it shouldn't be silver. It shouldn't be silver. So it wasn't the khilaf of whether or not he had the ring or not. It was the issue of it being steel or silver.
The brother said that the khilaf, it was about steel or silver, but I got mixed up. It's not about the ring. It's outside the ring. Necklace, bracelet. This is the khilaf. This is the khilaf, whether you can wear silver or steel. But as for the ring, you're allowed to wear it. Silver for men, they're allowed to. As for steel, bila shak. For steel, bila shak, there's no doubt that you're allowed to wear it for men. And there's a khilaf whether you're allowed to wear outside the ring, bracelet and everything. Can you wear silver or not? There is khilaf. Some scholars say not silver but steel. Some of them say no, silver you're allowed to wear. This is not the topic now, but there's a khilaf between scholars. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to help us understand our religion. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.